What's up, guys? Dustin McDangles back here with another video. This is the NHL franchise mode with the San Jose Sharks, and we are in the thick of it here in this season here with the San Jose Sharks. This is our third season with them, and so far we are sitting pretty here at the top of the division in the Pacific, and I believe we were in third place for the Western Conference, so things are looking good here for the San Jose Sharks moving forward into the future, as we will go ahead and sort of get into the rest of the simulation of this regular season. But before we do, we're actually going to take a look here at our AHL team just to see how they are doing, and things are going really well for our AHL team, 20-11-1, as it looks like they are in third place in their division, which is the Pacific Division as well. So things looking good there, but I was speaking in the last episode about sort of trading our top centerman, Logan Couture, as you know, he's getting older and his sort of value is dropping. He started the season off as an 86, but has dropped, or 87 I should say, and has dropped to an 86. So we are losing value with him, and we don't really have like a superstar type player other than Erik Karlsson, who is a 92 overall. So my thought process was to try and get a trade for Logan Couture to sort of bring in a superstar player to fill his position and sort of go from there. But that's exactly what we're going to do in today's episode here at the start. So let's get into see if we can find a way to get a trade for Logan Couture. Something I was looking at was this trade here for Matthew Barzal, but it looks like we're going to need to sort of throw something in there in order to sort of get things up to where they need to be. Sort of looking at our rookie skaters, I don't really want to trade away any of sort of our top picks from the previous drafts, which were McTavish, O'Rourke, and Perfetti, since you guys want them sort of to stay on the team, as it looks like they are doing pretty well here in their respective leagues right now. Perfetti absolutely killing it in the OHL, getting up to a 75. Ryan O'Rourke up to a 70 overall. He's progressing pretty well as Mason McTavish, for an 18-year-old player. He's doing pretty well in the OHL, 16 goals, 15 assists. So I don't want to trade any of our top guys that we sort of got in our sort of early draft, as this is currently our best player in the AHL. Blinchfield, don't really want to get rid of him, but looking at our rookie goaltenders, it looks like Spezza could be someone we could try and trade out, as, man, I don't know if we will ever use him sort of at the NHL level. I mean, looking at his sort of stats here aren't looking good, as he only has a starter high potential, so it would essentially be another sort of another sort of Martin Jones, and I don't really want that. So we're going to go ahead and try and move him here. It looks like the trade value is sort of in our favor, so we can even try and ask for a prospect goalie back from the Islanders, and we might want to go ahead and try and snipe one of these guys here. Honestly, could try and snipe this Nordstrom guy. Pretty decent stats, so go with that. See if we can get him into this deal. San Jose would have too many goalies. Let's see if we can trade one of our AHL goaltenders, if that is the case, sort of in with this deal. We have so many goalies, guys. That's kind of crazy. Let's go ahead and throw the Shortridge here in this trade proposal and see if we can try and snipe Matthew Barzal as well as another goaltender. Honestly, looks like the trade value is in our favor as well, so we can try and snipe a draft pick as well out of this deal. Could try and get like a 4th round pick, which would be pretty sweet package deal. But let's go ahead, try and get this trade, and it is rejected. So drop that 4th round pick, see if this trade goes through, and that is also rejected. Unwilling to part ways with what they are asking. So let's take off those sort of players there. And even that looks like we might be able to sort of get a pick out of it. Let's go for a 3rd round pick, see if that sort of is able to go through, and that is rejected. So it looks like we're going to have to give up Couture and our top goalie prospect. Let's try and see if we can get like a later round pick. I'd rather sort of get something as well out of this trade, sort of throw in a 5th round pick here for this trade, and that is rejected. So we're going to go ahead with this and see if it is accepted, and it is not. So looks like we're even going to have to throw in a pick of our own here to try and get this deal going. We'll throw a third-round pick in next year's draft for this. Pretty hefty fee, but 3 years for Matthew Barzal at a decent rate at 7.83 is pretty good. So we're actually sort of getting a little discount on sort of the rates, and they're not willing to trade. That is quite interesting. So we are going to go ahead and try and throw this trade over on another team. Looking here at Mark Scheifele, he isn't really having a big season sort of point-wise with the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, he is a great player, 28 years of age. He fits our top 6 forward lines as well as all of our power play lines. 3 years at 6.125 for a 90 overall player, which is pretty awesome to see. That would be a big time upgrade. I mean, looking at that, it looks like we would be able to sort of get a nice little swap here. Try and get picks out of this as well if we can, because it looks like the Winnipeg Jets aren't sort of going to be high in the draft. They have a lot of picks next year, so see if we can get this 4th round as well as Mark Scheifele, and that is denied. So we're just going to go for this swap right here, see if it goes through, and that trade is rejected. Man, we're just having a hard time trying to get a centerman. And it looks like we're going to have to give away a pick here. So we'll go with our 3rd round pick for next year. See if this is able to get it. Wow, unable to part ways. That is quite interesting. It's filling needs, but the value just needs to... That is quite interesting that they want some value out of this. I mean, I feel like I'm giving them pretty decent value. I mean, we could sort of swap that with a 2nd round pick for 2 years down the road and see if this will go through, and that is rejected as well. So trying to find a trade for Mark Scheifele and Logan Couture, it might be a little bit harder than I anticipated, as it is sort of a little bit difficult. Let's see if they are willing to sort of take another rookie goaltender. I'm trying to see who we could possibly throw in there. Lennox would be decent to sort of throw in. His stats aren't looking great either. So we could try and throw essentially our top 2 goaltender prospects in the pool, which is what I'm actually going to do, along with that 2nd rounder. I mean, if they don't accept this, I don't know. Yeah, they're kind of crazy. So it looks like we're gonna have to hold on to Couture. I'm gonna try and find one more trade here and see if that will go through. So here we have a massive trade that would send Couture to the Buffalo Sabres for Jack Eichel. I'm honestly not too sure if this will actually go through. We're going to give it a try, and that trade is rejected. I'm kind of curious to see if I give up my 1st round in 2023 as to them sort of taking this deal. I mean, that is a massive package that the sort of Buffalo Sabres would be getting for Jack Eichel, which is a franchise medium player. That is huge stuff, but I doubt this goes through, and again, it is rejected. I kind of want to see if we can try and get this through. I mean, Jack Eichel is worth sort of all the high picks we can try and give, 1st and 2nd round for 5 years. I mean, that is a massive sort of trade block there, and unable to get that through. So it was worth a try. Going to see if I can find some any other trades worth sort of going after. So here we are looking at a trade offer for Tyler Sagan, as that would also be a pretty sweet shout to try and get him in. Going to try and offer that trade, and obviously that is not going to go through. Trying to see if I swap that 2nd out for a 1st round pick, which has massive value. That sort of tilts it in our favor for the trade value, and hopefully this will find a way to go through, as we sort of just fly in under the radar for the trade cap, and it's just not going to work. Unfortunate. Trying to see if I sort of add in our 2nd round for that year as well, to see if we can get Tyler Sagan into the squad, and it just looks like it's not going to be able to happen, so we will keep looking for some trades here. So going after the former 1st overall pick here, we would be sort of essentially renting a player for a year, because we would have to give him a new contract. But looking at it, I feel like we would be able to, with sort of our space that we have in the upcoming year. But they do sort of deny that trade. Sort of just looking at it, going to offer also a 1st round pick as well for Jack Hughes here. It might be a little bit of an over sort of kill for Jack Hughes to try and get him, but that trade is also rejected. Low-key, just want to try and throw the kitchen sink here at Jack Hughes to see if we can get him. Throw a further 2nd round pick to see if the New Jersey Devils will take it, but they are not willing to part ways. So all of our trade offers for Couture don't sort of pan out. So we're going to have to stick with him for now. So we will go ahead and get simulating into the rest of the regular season here with the team that we have, in hopes that we sort of stay on top. We will simulate halfway through the month here, like we always do, with a game fresh out of the gates here against the Calgary Flames, who are a decent team, and I believe San Jose Winder, who the heck is that, is injured right out of the gate here. Oh, for the AHL. I was going to say, I don't know of anyone who is on the Sharks that goes by that name. So we will just go ahead and sort of fill that lineup like that and keep on chugging here, as we have a big trade offer. It's going to not take that, as that is sort of the bulk of our team. Overtime loss to the Calgary Flames, unfortunately, as we will continue on as we get a big win here against some Eastern Conference opponents, as well as a shootout loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, coming back with a victory against our rival here with the Anaheim Ducks, and a big victory against a cup contender with the Dallas Stars here, as we get another victory against the Colorado Avalanche, and our team looks like they are playing pretty well. There's another lineup sort of thing here that we got to do. Top line centerman for the AHL team is actually out of the lineup, unfortunately, so we will try and see if we can shake up the lineup a bit, sort of go with that and sort of keep that rolling. As we get a trade offer for Khudobin and a ton of trade picks, which honestly not going to go for that, as we will go ahead and simulate out the rest of the month of January here, as we are doing really well this regular season. Jacob Slavin is out, unfortunately, with a knee injury, so we're going to have to sort of fix our lineup here. Second line defenseman is out, so we will go ahead and put Ferraro into all of the lines there, getting that +1. See if we can sort of get a bigger plus. Trying to see who I would rather have that plus on. So I'm going to move Larson up to sort of just bolster our top two defensive lines and sort of leave our bottom pair defense as is. Slavin actually was injured, and Ferraro is injured, the man that we just put into our lineup. So it looks like we're going to have to call up a player here, as we are sort of running out of defensemen to sort of throw into our lineup, as I believe we don't have any other defensemen we can call up. So I'm going to need to bring up a defenseman here. I'm going to have to fill somebody just in that slot for now. We'll just throw Samela in there. It's obviously going to get that -3. We're going to have to stop our simulation here, and Slavin is back to get into the lineup. Yeah, we're going to have to throw him right back in, just because I'd rather do that than sort of call somebody up. We'll get Samela out of the lineup. Slavin will be thrown back in. Hopefully he will be good to go. Hopefully no injuries will occur, and we will go ahead and get simulating through the rest of this month, as we have 2 losses in a row to the Blues, and oh my goodness, Couture is out of the lineup now, so we're going to have to sort of throw somebody else in. We'll have to throw Samela in here and sort of scramble around and find some lines, as we got to bring Strome up. We got to, man, I don't want Samela on that line, but it is going to have to be this way. As can we get Hurdle to centerman? Do we have sort of anybody else that we can sort of slot into the lineup? And it doesn't look like we can throw anyone else into the lineup, as Samela will have to play winger unless we can find a way to yeah, we're going to have to throw Samela in at left wing on our second line, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what we're going to have to do for now, as we'll go ahead and simulate through the rest of this month. Ferraro is back, and man, our injury bug right now is just absolutely insane here, as it looks like somebody on the AHL team is out. Is it a goaltender? I don't know, but we will just keep going here with this simulation, which has been a bad one here for the month of January, with a couple trades there, obviously on the Christmas break, right, or the All-Star break. We will continue to sort of simulate here with the lineup the way it is, just to sort of give Couture a few games rest, and we are able to sort of get through those last 2 games of the month with victories, getting us up to 29-17 and 7, as we will now go ahead and throw Couture back into the lineup, trying to hope and find a way that we can keep buzzing here. He's got 40 points in 51 games. Not the best, but, you know, it's not too terrible. As let's go ahead and sort of resort our lineup here, throwing Couture back into the lineup here. Will be good to get him back into the lineup with that +3 there. Throw Strome back into the centerman spot, and we have now pluses on all of our lines, which is good to see. See if we can sort of get him back into the special teams as well. Yeah, so we have the +3 and everything there, so all of that is all set and good. So we can get into the simulation here of the month of January and hope that things go well. The Boston Bruins having a tough season of their own right here, so we will simulate up here closer to the trade deadline. So we'll simulate all the way up to the trade deadline to see if we can make any moves moving forward, as Couture sort of 2 first-round picks. That's kind of crazy, but I feel like the draft this year isn't sort of going to be the best, as we take a loss there to the Boston Bruins. Connolly and Khudobin, don't want to get rid of them, as we beat the Montreal Canadiens for our 30th win of the season to come back and lose to the New York Islanders. So things are going pretty well. Hyman is sort of in a trade offer there, but we will decline as we beat a Western Conference opponent with the Edmonton Oilers. The Boston Bruins have actually fired their coach, which is crazy to see. Game against a cup contender is a victory as we beat the Buffalo Sabres 4-2 in regulation. As big-time trades here coming in. Hey, if they want Couture, man, they want so much. That is nuts. They're trying to make a push for the playoffs, I think. But if they want Couture, we can try and come back at them and try and see if we can snipe what's-his-face, Scheifele, off of their lineup, as the Flyers sort of just trying to pick Hyman off. Bozak and Smith, I don't want to get rid of them, as they are sort of key players on our team right now. Trying to make a push for the playoffs this year, as we're getting plenty of trade offers. Whoa, hold on a minute. The Detroit Red Wings are pretty good this year. A neck strain for Erik Karlsson. Estimated return is February 27th, so we will be without Karlsson for a while, which is a big hit to our defensive end. We'll have to throw in Ferraro into the lineup, 2-way defenseman. See sort of how he slots in on that line. We'll throw Virtanen up on that first line. I'm trying to think, do I want Polak on that first line, or do I want him on that second line? I'm trying to see. I'd rather have that +3 on Virtanen and Polak, getting them up to an 86, which would be nice to see. I'm trying to see if I move this around. I'd rather stack our top 2 defensive lines and sort of have that bottom 3 pair as is. Getting through a game against the Colorado Avalanche with a 7-4 victory. HL player Jeremy Roy, or Waugh, however you want to pronounce that, is out of the lineup here for the HL, so we are going to have to sort of swap that out, get another defenseman into the lineup here in hopes that we can sort of sort things out, and we are able to do so. Let me see if doing that works, and that sort of gives some pluses there. Shootout lineup. Is that what is being affected? Extra attacker. Oh, that's what's going on. So just got to do a little sort of housekeeping here. Just throw this guy in there, as sort of our AHL team really isn't our top priority, as most of our prospects aren't really there. Let's go ahead. Oh, man. It's always hard trying to get some players into that lineup there, and that should solve that problem. As big-time trade here, Winnipeg Jets, 2 first-round picks for essentially the bulk of our lineup with key components. Going to decline that trade as we get closer to the trade deadline. I mean, if the Winnipeg Jets want Couture, they're going to have to give up a pretty penny for it, as we are looking to beat another Western Conference opponent here. Big trade there, essentially Honka to Boston and Chris Tanev to Carolina. Nothing to affect us here. Giordano to Dallas, along with Kevin Miller for that's nothing. That's kind of crazy. Karlsson back, able to sort of come into the lineup, but we will give him a few more days to sort of rest up Edmonton coming in with a trade there, and Evander Kane, first-round pick. That is crazy. That is not worth it. As we will now go ahead and try and wheel and deal here on the trade deadline to try and make some sort of lineup adjustments. Couture, obviously, 52 points in 61 games. Not too bad, but we want sort of a top sort of center here. Maybe even potentially move out Evander Kane, although he is having a pretty decent season, and we have him for 4 more years, so we can try and hang on to him. But let's go ahead and try and get Couture out of here. Gonna just try and find a way to get him out for Scheifele here, as, I mean, they wanted to trade him, so we will or they wanted to trade for Couture, so we will, oh man, that trade value difference is crazy, as, I mean, this is going to be tough, but we're going to try and throw the same offer we gave him with Spezza, Couture, and honestly, I wouldn't be mad about throwing a first-round pick here at the Winnipeg Jets. So we will go ahead and throw this first-round pick at them, and that should sort of get the trade value in our favor, but they don't want to take that trade, man. What do they want? Like, what else could I possibly give them? Just looking at the rookie skaters, I don't want to give up these top 3 guys here. I mean, we could try and give up this defenseman, 78, Ian Chikrovich, 7th round pick. He's got 2 years left. Could try and throw him in, another centerman into that deal. Top 6 forward, medium potential. I mean, the trade value is way in our favor. See if this goes through, and that is rejected. The value you're sending us isn't sufficient enough at all. That is nuts, considering the fact that we are throwing so much at them. We're going to see if we can get one more trade offer here. Throw a second, and then let's throw Boston's 3rd round pick at them this year. I mean, if they don't take this, they're nuts. So it looks like we're not going to be able to get Couture out. So that is going to be sort of our only dealings on the trade deadline. Is it's just not going to work out for the trade block for us this year with trying to move Couture out. But, I mean, hopefully he can continue to play well, as we will go ahead and simulate the next 2 games, and then we'll throw Carlson back into the lineup, sort of giving him a little rest. And hopefully that will sort of do him some good moving forward into the future, as we were able to get 2 wins on the deadline, which is huge stuff. But we will go ahead and throw Carlson back into the lineup here for the San Jose Sharks, as we look to sort of push on here in this season, as things are going pretty well for us. Sort of in regards to that, is Carlson back to full potential? He is, so we will get him back up on that first line. Larson, Virtanen. Is this how I want the lineup to be? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Virtanen on the 3rd line. Actually, let's get Virtanen up. Who's been playing better is the real question between the two. Larson 6 and 6. Virtanen, or Vatanen, or however you say his name, has been doing pretty well, so we'll leave him on that line. Slavin, pretty decent, plus 14 as well for Virtanen. -9 for Couture and -8 for Pollock. So not quite the defensive pair you're looking for on your top line, which kind of sucks to see. But, you know, that's sort of the thing you're going to sort of sacrifice when you have an offensive defenseman like Carlson, who's willing to sort of make those chances and make things happen on the offensive end. But let's go ahead and start simulating through the month of March here, see how the boys fare up, as we are doing pretty well in the standings. Shootout loss to the Coyotes as we are in the desert here. Overtime loss to the Golden Knights, and we are able to sort of bounce back with a victory and then lose to the Golden Knights once again, as they're having a pretty decent season of their own. Still in first place by 1 point, as we're actually in a losing streak right now, so we're losing our lead in the division. We're actually down to second in the division, which is kind of crappy to see, but you know, we've got to try and make things work. We're on a massive losing streak right now. Goudreau is going to be out of the lineup for a while, so we're going to go ahead and sort of fix that here. Hyman up to an 82, which is kind of cool to see. We will throw Sumela into the lineup here at left wing on that bottom line. See if we can shake up the lineup here. I mean, Timo Meier playing great on that third line. I don't really want to move him off of that just because I want that +3 on that line. How's Connolly doing? Not great, 14 and 11. Smith 11 and 29, not great. Obviously, Couture doing pretty well, and Evander Kane putting up decent numbers. Tomas Hertl, decent sort of showing there. We could sort of move Hertl up, but I want to keep that line together. So we'll leave the lineup as is there, looking to try and break this losing streak, and we are on a 6-game losing streak to sort of fill out the month of March here, and that is just not going to get it done, sort of trying to move into the playoffs. 7-game losing streak. We finally snap it against the St. Louis Blues, but lose the next game after that. Goudreau able to get back into the lineup, and I want that sort of +1 on our fourth line. Get that going, and maybe we need to switch sort of the defensive lineup a bit here. We'll move Slavin up to that line, sort of getting a +3 on our second D pair. We'll roll with that, see if those changes sort of help out as we are at least able to beat the LA Kings here, as it looks like we are getting down to the last couple games of the season in hopes of making the playoffs. I mean, we've been sort of dropping here, unfortunately, losing home ice advantage, and we are only 1 point behind the Vegas Golden Knights, so sort of take this game by game here against the Edmonton Oilers. In this one, we are able to win 6-3. We are able to clinch a playoff spot, but we want to try and get that top position as we will simulate through the Vancouver Canucks game, and we end up losing. So I believe the best we can finish is second place in the division, and that is exactly where we are going to end up for the end of this regular season here. And let's go ahead and stop the simulation. Take a look here at sort of the standings and stats for the regular season, as Couture put up our most points with 64 in the season. Not what you want to see in an 82 game schedule. Your top player only putting up 64 points. I mean, Evander Kane with our most goals at 29, but we're going to need to try and sort of work things out and find sort of that top player for us moving forward after this season. Hopefully we can make a good run in the playoffs, but looking at the Western Conference here, we were able to slot in at that 4th position. Sort of fell apart there at the end of the season, unfortunately, as we had first place all year long until those last couple of games where we fell apart and fell to the 4th seed. So that is unfortunate, but it does look like we will be playing the Calgary Flames, which will be a tough opponent in the first round. They also put up 40 wins on the season. Let's go ahead and check sort of the awards for this year. It doesn't look like it's letting me, so let's go ahead and take a look at the playoff tree here for this year, and it looks pretty similar to last year with teams that have made it. The Detroit Red Wings in the playoffs. Crazy to see that. So starting off in the Eastern Conference, we've got the Blue Jackets and Capitals, Flyers, Penguins, Red Wings, and Lightning, and then we have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes. Going to the Western Conference now, we've got the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild, the Avalanche and Blackhawks, Sharks and Flames, and then we have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Nashville Predators. So it should be an interesting playoffs. Hopefully we can get out of the first round this year like we did last year, but hoping for a deeper run than last year, obviously. So hoping the team does well, and I low-key want to just take a look here at the goaltender stats, because honestly, we might need to bench Martin Jones if he had a poor season. Look at those stats. 13 games. Oh, those are showing playoff stats? I was going to say, like, holy smokes, like, what did he put up this season? 20, so 907, not terrible for him this year, but not what you're looking to see in your starting goaltender. So sort of moving forward into the future, we should probably look at getting new goaltender and obviously a new starting centerman, as well as we'll probably have to re-sign a couple guys here for next year. But this is the team heading into playoffs, guys. Let me know if you sort of want any changes. Obviously, Williams has dropped to a 79 overall, which kind of stinks to see, but, you know, he is pretty old, but he has put up a decent season. I believe that is playoff stats. Let me take a look here at his stats for the season, as Justin Williams put up 38 points, I mean, in 82 games. That is really good for a fourth-line player, so Honestly, not too mad about that for a 79 overall player. He's played great. But this is going to be the team for the playoffs, guys. Let me know if you want to make any lineup changes before the playoffs and sort of see how things go. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to drop a thumbs up on this video. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you have a good one. And as always, stay dusty.